Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Champions, issue number 5. This is going to be the final issue of Eve Ewing and Bob Quinn. I might as well just get into who made the book. Federico Blee does the colors, he's staying. VC's Clayton Cowles does the letters. I think that Clayton is staying. Tony Infante is staying on the covers, and Sarah Pichelli does the variant cover. I don't know what she's doing. Anyway, Carlos Lau does the graphic design. Okay, got that out of the way. Anyway, this is Eve's last issue, though, and unfortunately, it kind of fizzled. And you know how I am. I will judge an entire arc, based a story, whatever, based on the final issue. Like, did they stick the landing or not? In this particular case, there was certainly an ending, but it's just such an undeserved, unearned ending. Like, the victory was, it just wasn't really very much. And maybe someone would argue that that's okay because, a lot of times civil rights and civil disobedience marches and stuff like that, they never really end the way that you want them to end. Yeah, that's cute, but there's a comic book, right? And comic books are supposed to, especially superhero comic books, for the most part, they're supposed to inspire us, right? Mind you, my peeps, I said superhero. Punisher's not a superhero. Okay? They're not supposed to inspire us to put Punisher symbols on our cars and go out and start shooting people. So, yeah, no. No, thank you. In this particular case, though, you've got young heroes who have done amazing things in the past under Wade, under Zub, and in this particular case, Eve, I'm not one to give undue credit, and I'm certainly not one to add to, weight on a shoulder. But at the end of the day, like Eve Ewing took an already used plot and then a reused plot and decided to do it again. Basically, like Chris Claremont did the whole Mutant Registration Act stuff, right? Which made it illegal, essentially, to be a mutant for all intents and purposes, You have to register, otherwise it's your ass. Later on, some people said, hey, you know what? Well, let's do that with all the superheroes, the Superhuman Registration Act. And then they made a movie about it called Captain America Civil War and all the stuff up until now, right? Even with WandaVision ending, they still quoted the Sokovia Law. You know what I'm saying? So the Sokovia Accords. So, technically in the MCU, we're still under that stuff. So this is stuff that's been used and used and used again. And then she just says, what if it was applied to children? Yeah, if that's all you got, sure, I guess, why not? You know what I'm saying? Make it more relatable to young people who are reading this otherwise amazing title that we've loved, that has been bootlegged way too many times, enough to make freaking Jim Zub say, F it, I don't want to do this anymore. At the end of the day, man, this is a book that, it's supposed to be inspiring to people. This is a group of kids who left the Avengers because they weren't doing enough for the community. Yeah, you're there to beat things up, but where are you for the cleanup? You very rarely ever see that. Even in the Marvel Universe, where citizens actually matter, In this, this ended. Look, you want to talk about an undeserved victory. What really happened? Look, Viv Vision just kind of appears out of nowhere. Remember the previous issue? She was like, I realized I did some bad things, right? I supposed to be like I snitched. I learned the word snitch today, and I didn't get any stitches, but, I snitched. So she just, like, pretty much teleports and appears next to freaking Amadeus Cho, Braun, and they just materialize and have a plan formulated already, and they're going to go and bust into a place. As if that wasn't rushed enough, but then we actually make it kind of booty to really, really kick it off, right? When Braun and Vision are standing there and they see that there are 3 guards behind here, and they could have, and they even mention, should we do it your way or my way? And Viv is like, who cares? They say, let's, Viv could have gone in there, phased through, nobody would have noticed anything, and then just, boop, 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 knock all of them out really quick before they even realized what was happening. None of them were paying attention to the wall that she was going to come through. Instead, they wanted to make it showy, and Braun even says at the end, probably should have just let you do it your way, but then where's the fun in that? Hey, you big green, jolly green giant jackass. Did you by chance notice that you're there to rescue your friends? I mean, at the end of the day, I get it. He's just a kid, but he's also he used to be the eighth smartest person in the world. Now he's like, I don't know, top 20. At the end of the day, it's like, dude, you are a straight up jackass. Your friends are about to get drugged again, or they could at any moment, or beaten, or isolated, or taken to another detention center, whatever. And like, this is your only chance to really get them. And you're effing around and you're having fun. What kind of a moron does that? Thank you for giving me another reason to not really like Braun too much, man. Great job, Eve. Good freaking job. I'm glad you're here for that. At the end of the day, look, man, Viv should have at least said something, you know? She goes and she says what she's got to say, and she acknowledges that she admits that she's the one who did this stuff, and they immediately forgive her because this whole book is just so rushed. It's ridiculous, you know? The way that it ends is just, it's straight booty, you know? A couple of quotes are made. Look, it's a beautiful quote, but if it would have been put in an actually better freaking story, look, I understand the pandemic and whatnot, but is Eve really that busy where she said, I can do this project, but she didn't actually do it? She didn't actually fulfill it through? They try and say in the letters pages, this was only scheduled to be 5 issues. Really, why not 6? Because that's usually what a storyline is. An arc is usually 6 issues. And you tell me it was only slated for 5? Interesting. Interesting. I guess I'll just have to take your word for it and not actually think about it myself. Whatever, it is what it is. In the meantime, this could have benefited from an extra issue where things could have been thought out, where there could have been like an actual. Excuse me, how do you have a juvenile detention center and there's not one single mandroid armor? Can someone riddle me that? A decommissioned mandroid armor, a guardsman armor, something. There's nobody there. Nobody there with any kind of an exosuit to make sure that they can keep these superpowered kids in line. No tasers, stunners, nothing. This was, look, not that I want to see kids get tased and stunned and all that stuff, but for the love of God. I mean, even if we would have had like a Randy Orton RKO out of nowhere, you know what I'm saying? It's like, the good guys are waking up. Ah! I mean, I'm saying, because right now, all we've got is this. Look, a really great quote was made, and you could tell that this was supposed to release last month, not this month, because Viv Vision says, a quote that I once heard, an unjust law is a code that is out of harmony with the moral law. To continue with it, any law that uplifts human personality is just. Any law that denigrates human personality is unjust. All segregation statutes are unjust because segregation distorts the soul and damages the personality. And this is from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Really beautiful quote. You may say it's taken out of context. Allow me to explain where that actually comes from in its spirit. If a law is unjust, a man is not only right to disobey it, he is obliged to do so. That's Thomas Jefferson. So we can approach this at any angle. And at the end of the day, look, in real life, that just doesn't hold up. If you try something like that in real life, if you disobey a law and say it's unjust, and a founding father and the guy who actually, wrote the Constitution, he said, you still going to get your ass thrown in prison. And that's just the way that it is. But this is a superhero book. And it's supposed to inspire us to do something else. Civil rights marches and just any kind of a march, it could last freaking forever. Damn well it could freaking last forever for a really long time, right? How many marches and protests go on and nothing really becomes of it, Think about all those protests that happened in the beginning of the Trump administration. What really became from any of those? What happened to did they call it the Pussy March? Whatever, the Women's March, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever happened to those? Pretty much nothing. Remember Amber Heard had a little conversation there. So glad that happened. But at the end of the day, most of the time nothing comes from marches because they just don't go on for long enough. Boycotts, you know what I'm saying? If you don't really commit to these things, it doesn't work. So when they turn around and they show, oh yeah, man, yeah, we could just, rise up and say, change that law, repeal that law. And then a couple pages later, it's essentially repealed and we're done. Really? Is that the message that you want to send? Because I would think to, no, make it a little bit more realistic. Just a little bit of realism in there. There was no earned victory in here. Everything just kind of, for a book that, let's face it, dragged ass for 4 issues, for everything to just be like, rev it up, boom, issue 5. Eh. I think that Eve could have done better. I mean, she was supposed to be like the second coming showing up in here. They're like, oh my god, it's so great. Oh my god, it's so great. And we just get this. We get this that just kind of ends. I mean, it was this close to being Deus Ex Machina, the way that this book just ended. I mean, the clouds parted. It's just the hand of God did not actually come down. I guess he was busy or hiccuped or something. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what it was. But at the end of the day, this should have been, could have been, and it damn well should have been a whole lot better. It just wasn't. Well, Eve is off the book. Um, I'm not trying to say that being a jerk. I'm just saying in general. I thought it was funny to say it that way. Danny Lore does the last couple pages in here, and the show shows that Miles and Sam Alexander are going to go undercover to. I'm not going to give you the full ending of the book. That's not what I'm here for. But they're going to go undercover in order to infiltrate the organization and boom, 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 boom. I like this. I really like this. And I'm glad that they allowed Danny to do this. Danny's going to be on there, and Bob Quinn is going to leave also. That's the artist. And we're going to have Luciano Vecchio. So one good artist replaced with another good artist. Tony Infante is going to stay doing covers. Clayton Cowles is going to stay. And Federico Blee is going to stay also. This is perfect because the colors on this book are pretty much the thing that stand out more than look any random page, and just the colors are what really stand out on a story like this anyway. Especially when it's Federico Blee who's attached to the story. I mean, for the love of God, this is a guy who you can have, and I'm not attributing this to any of the pencilers or inkers that are on here, but you can have a penciler and an inker who just come along like the layouts and the finishes, and they're just like, here's a circle, here's some scribbly stuff for hair. Here's eyes. I'll actually draw some eyes. Here's a little, curved line for a nose, and here's a straight line for a mouth. Should look stupid, right? And like that cartoon Doug. Remember that was way back then? It can look as boring as that. But you put Federico Blee on the colors, and what happens? All of a sudden, he makes it look 3-dimensional, and it actually looks like a human face. And he'll even fix the hair for you, So I'm really especially happy that Federico is going to stay in the book because it's going to feel like a continuation of everything. I don't know if the story is going to be any good. The plot sounds good. The pitch, whatever was done, so that we could get the backstory, the plot of this. This sounds great, but Eve's plot sounded great too. I mean, at the end of the day, I started really missing Zub on this book after I already missed Wade on the book, right? And how many people did the original Champion stories, right? With Hercules, Iceman, freaking Angel, and Ghost Rider and all that, right? Black Widow, too. I mean, for the love of God, Champions has always been a really good book to read. And this new version of the team, I hope this sticks around in Marvel for a very, very long time, built on the noblest of causes, and just continues to do that. As far as Danny Lore, he did the Iron Man 2020 Wolverine story with Wolverine. He's done a Marvel Voices thing. He's also done something for the Truth and Justice in DC, which, crap, I missed that one. Damn it, that pisses me off. He's done the King in Black Captain America. Now I'm remembering really well. Yes. Yes, okay. So he did this. Let me go to this book. The King in Black Captain America story. I liked. Wait, did that even come out yet? Is that the one that? I think that came out last week and I didn't read it. Okay, never mind. I was thinking of the previous Venom story that overlapped everything, the Carnage Rules thing. Anyway, so I'm not overly familiar with some of the stuff that he's done, but he's done a couple of books. So hopefully this is going to be good. Hopefully this is going to be entertaining. Otherwise, well, I'm going to badmouth it because I'm not here to broke any nonsense. I want good comic books. I'm paying for them. I demand excellence. You know what I'm saying? I could be a jerk that way. Anyhow, I think that it'll be good because the plot does sound pretty interesting. As far as this one, it felt like an AEW death match ending. They're promising big explosions, and we really just got a couple of sparklers on the ring posts. That's right, I went there. this could have been better, this should have been better. It had every right to be better. I feel like Eve just kind of lost interest in doing this, and she's going to go off and do her own thing. Best of luck in all of your future endeavors. We wish you well. But at the end of the day, I think that for the most part, if Eve doesn't come back to do any books, practice. You know what I'm saying? It takes something special to do comic books. And I'm not saying that I can do a comic book, all right? Every time somebody says that, I don't have to know how to cook to say that I don't like the food that you made. Likewise, I don't have to know how to do a comic book and a best-selling comic book in order to comment on a comic book that has just come out. This final issue was horribly rushed and slapped together, and it's terrible. Terrible that that had to happen, especially since the story itself really kind of dragged ass the entire way. We deserve better for the champions. The champions deserve better. We deserve better to read. And that's just the way it is. If Eve doesn't do another comic book for another year, I hope it's because she's taking the time to learn better how to pace a comic book. It's not like writing a regular book, right? You have to be able to work with the artists a whole lot better. You have to. And you have to know how to pace a story a whole lot better also. You got a beginning, middle, and end for every single issue as opposed to just for my novel. So plenty of ups and downs, and there's a lot to it. Writing a comic book is not like writing any other form of media. The closest would be, as I've mentioned often, a soap opera. If you can't write for a soap opera, don't try writing for a comic book until you learn how to write for a soap opera. And with that, I'm out. Guys, I'll talk to you later. Looking forward to Champions issue number 6 with the mostly new, well, a new creative team at the very least. New storyteller, new writer, new artist. Anyway, yeah, done. Talk to you guys later. Like the video, watch an ad, and if you want to hear some people who want to argue with me on my opinions, go to the Heroes Collide podcast, where you will hear us. We've already got 3 up. Spotify has it. A few other places have it too. Buzzsprout, for instance, is where the platform is, and soon to be on Apple iTunes. In the meantime, I'll talk to you guys later. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.